The billionaire with no past. How does a college dropout from a middle-class neighborhood in Brooklyn become a billionaire with the world's most powerful people on speed dial? For decades, Jeffrey Epstein cultivated an aura of absolute mystery. He had no Ivy League degree. He had no family fortune. He had no public track record of massive business victories. Yet, he managed the wealth of billionaires, owned private islands, and lived a life completely insulated from the rules that govern the rest of us. Before the arrests, before the private island, and before the international scandal that would shake the foundations of the elite, there was just a young math teacher desperately trying to climb the social ladder. Welcome to part 1 of our series on Jeffrey Epstein.
Breaking news just into our newsroom this morning. Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide overnight.
Today, we aren't looking at the end of his life. We are looking at the beginning. How did the ultimate con artist infiltrate the highest echelons of society? This is how it all started. Chapter 1. The Brooklyn Prodigy and the Dalton School. Jeffrey Edward Epstein was born in 1953 in Brooklyn, New York. He grew up in Seagate, a gated middle-class community near Coney Island. His father worked as a groundskeeper for the Parks Department, and his mother was a school aide. By all accounts, Epstein was incredibly smart. He skipped 2 grades, graduated high school at 16, and attended Cooper Union before transferring to NYU's Current Institute of Mathematical Sciences. But here is the first major red flag in Epstein's heavily fabricated resume. He never graduated. He dropped out. Despite having no college degree and absolutely no teaching credentials, a 21-year-old Epstein somehow landed a job teaching calculus and physics at the Dalton School in 1974. Dalton wasn't just any high school. It was the prep school for the children of Manhattan's ultra-wealthy elite. Epstein used Dalton not just as a workplace, but as a networking goldmine. He was charismatic, highly inappropriate by modern standards, reportedly attending student parties where alcohol was present, and laser-focused on impressing the wealthy parents of his students. In 1976, Epstein was fired from Dalton for poor performance. But it didn't matter. He had already made the one connection he needed. Chapter 2. The Wall Street Leap. While at Dalton, Epstein tutored the son of Alan Ace Greenberg. Greenberg wasn't just a wealthy parent. He was the CEO of Bear Stearns, one of the most prestigious investment banks on Wall Street. Impressed by Epstein's mathematical mind and absolute sheer confidence, Greenberg gave the 23-year-old dropout a job as a junior assistant to a floor trader. Epstein's rise at Bear Stearns was meteoric. He quickly moved into the special products division, advising the bank's wealthiest clients on complex options trading and, crucially, tax mitigation strategies. He learned how the ultra-rich hid their money, and he realized he was very good at helping them do it. By 1980, he was made a limited partner. He was even featured in Cosmopolitan magazine as the Bachelor of the Month. But the honeymoon didn't last. In 1981, Epstein was quietly forced out of Bear Stearns for a trading violation. Yet again, Epstein landed on his feet. He took the secrets of the ultra-wealthy and set up his own shop. Chapter 3. The Ponzi Scheme and the Pivot. After leaving Wall Street, Epstein founded his own firm, Intercontinental Assets Group. This is where the myth-making really began. Epstein started telling people he was a financial bounty hunter who recovered stolen money for governments and oligarchs. He traveled on a British passport, allegedly carried a concealed weapon, and shrouded his business in absolute secrecy. In 1987, Epstein was introduced to a man named Stephen Hoffenberg, the head of a debt collection company called Towers Financial. Hoffenberg hired Epstein as a consultant, paying him a massive $25,000 a month. There was just one problem. Towers Financial was a massive Ponzi scheme. In the 1990s, the company collapsed in what was, at the time, one of the largest financial frauds in U.S. history, bilking investors out of over $450 million. Hoffenberg pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 20 years in federal prison. But what happened to Epstein? Absolutely nothing. Despite Hoffenberg later claiming in court that Epstein was the architect of the scam and his uncharged co-conspirator, Epstein walked away completely unscathed. He was never charged, never prosecuted, and somehow managed to keep the millions he had acquired during this time. Chapter 4: The Golden Goose. By the late 1980s, Epstein had the money, he had the charm, and he had the total lack of a moral compass required to play the game at the highest level. He rebranded his firm to exclusively manage the assets of billionaires. But in reality, he only had one major client. His name was Les Wexner. Wexner was the retail titan behind brands like Victoria's Secret and Bath and Body Works. For reasons that still baffle financial experts today, Wexner handed over almost total control of his immense fortune to Jeffrey Epstein. He gave Epstein sweeping power of attorney, allowing him to buy properties, move money, and act entirely on Wexner's behalf. With Wexner's billions backing him, Epstein bought the largest private residence in Manhattan. He bought planes. He bought a private island. The Brooklyn dropout had finally arrived. He had built the ultimate fortress of wealth and power. And inside that fortress, he began to build a dark, sprawling network that would eventually destroy him. But how exactly did he use Victoria's Secret as a pipeline for his crimes? And how did a British socialite named Ghislaine Maxwell become the missing piece of his twisted puzzle? That is exactly what we are going to cover in Part 2. If you want to see how Epstein weaponized his new wealth, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next episode. Leave a comment below. What part of Epstein's early rise surprises you the most? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.